Ever had a boss say no to your time off, only to have karma line everything up for you? In my 20s, I worked over 5 years in oil and gas well servicing. The schedule was brutal. 15 days on, 6 days off, and the turnover rate was high. By the time I hit the 5-year mark, I was the most experienced hand in my shop, which is saying something in an industry where people rarely stuck around that long. I'd started at a smaller shop 7 hours from home, but eventually transferred to a busier location closer by. The money was better, and I was lucky enough to have my days off line up with a supervisor whose work style meshed perfectly with mine. But outside of that one bright spot, everything about the new place was a nightmare. Management was rigid, unhelpful, and often flat out unreasonable. My breaking point came with a simple request. A close friend of mine had passed away after complications from a car accident. I asked for just 1 day off to attend the funeral. It wasn't last minute. I gave 2 days notice, and given how much I'd bent over backwards for the company, I thought they'd return the favor. After all, I'd worked over 100 of my scheduled days off, and had only ever taken a single sick day. Their answer? A hard no. And to make it worse, on the very day I had asked off, 4 other workers sat around the shop doing make-work projects, basically killing time. There was no scheduling issue, no manpower crisis. Management just didn't want to bother accommodating me. That was the moment I knew. Once I served out my 1-year obligation at this shop, so I wouldn't have to pay back the $4,000 transfer bonus, I was gone. A few months shy of that mark, I started job hunting. One opportunity stood out. A mine we regularly serviced, close enough to home that I could commute daily. It seemed like a perfect fit. I applied, and not long after, HR left me a voicemail. They wanted me in for an interview. 2 days later, I called back immediately, trying to reschedule, but the HR rep explained they only hold interviews when they've got enough openings to run a group orientation. If I missed this one, I'd have to wait for the next, with no guarantee when that would be. It could be weeks, maybe months. I couldn't risk that. I confirmed the appointment, though I had no clue how I'd pull it off. My first move was asking the assistant manager, who was handling dispatch. I told him something important came up at home and I needed a day off. Without hesitation, he shut me down. No, we've got a full board this week. Whatever it is can wait for your days off. At first, I considered calling in sick, but that risked burning bridges before I had anything else lined up. Then it hit me. Maybe there was another way. I went to the job board, and there it was. A week-long assignment for the exact company I was set to interview with. It was scheduled to start the very next day, and no crews had claimed it yet. I went straight to my supervisor and laid it all out. He was on board instantly. Together, we offered to take the job. The assistant manager was thrilled. Most crews avoided week-long assignments because they meant being stuck out at a rig shack. But to me, it was perfect. Day 1 went smoothly. We wrapped by early afternoon, and my supervisor handed me his truck so I could head home, shower, and change into interview clothes. Day 2 cut things closer. We barely got our tools deployed into the well before I had to race off. I grabbed another quick shower, changed again, and drove straight to the administration building. The interview went well. A week later, I got the call. The mine was offering me a position. The starting wage was lower than my current pay, but the long-term benefits were undeniable. Their pay structure was clearly laid out. By year 2, I'd equal what I was making in oil field work, and by year 4, I'd surpass it. On top of that, the benefits were better, and the schedule gave me twice as much time off. When I handed in my 2 weeks notice, my manager tried to talk me out of it. He asked where I was going and what they were paying. When I told him, he looked shocked. He couldn't believe I'd take a pay cut to leave. He even asked what it would take for me to stay. I told him the truth. When someone takes a pay cut to leave, that ship sailed a long time ago. That was 15 years ago. I've been at the mine ever since. Better stability, better benefits, and way more time for myself. In the end, management's refusal to give me 1 day off pushed me straight into the best career decision I ever made.